Why the heck not, Mr. Singh? That kind of is the mantra for your life story, isn't it? You never let an opportunity pass you by.
Whenever an opportunity came, something in me, I didn't let it go.
Let's talk about the big opportunity that you decided to grab. Reviving DLF.
Formidable task. Can you imagine how do you lobby with the government to change their policy of urban land development? What others thought they say impossible, I said I will attempt to make it possible, and that started my story of getting into DLF. Then I left everything.
Many interesting insights about that land acquisition process.
The new law came to India called Urban Land Ceiling Act,
Right.
which is one of the most wrong laws, colonial laws. I said, let me read this law myself. And I found one para.
The loophole.
Loophole is unheard of, that you can buy land from farmers. There are not single litigation, and I succeeded. It took me 10, 12 years. And that's how the DLF thing came around.
Bringing GE, setting up GE capital here in India.
I said, I'll use the Jack Welch to ignite India. 23rd September was the board meeting of GE in Paris. He used one word: either get into India and take advantage of the big run we will have, or the door will be closed forever. And when GE did, world followed.
We've got a lot of young entrepreneurs, first generation entrepreneurs who've taken the risk, who've decided to get into businesses. What is the advice that you would give them?
On the rigid principle of ethics and moral value, and not cutting corners.
Your message to family businesses.
You must choose the best man. Rajiv, my son, the way he runs the company is absolutely 100% the way it should be.
What continues to give you the passion to live your life fully?
When my late wife died, I would have been normally dead in a year or so. Loneliness kills. At that time, I decided myself, to hell with taboos of the world. I will make my life again, which I have done.
Why the heck not?
Why the heck not?
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Young Turks Reloaded. I'm Shereen Bhan. My guest today is the quintessential Young Turks. The cliche is that age is just a state of mind, and my guest today is an embodiment of that very cliche. At 95, the founder of DLF, KP Singh, is living life the way that he wants it. He's had an undeniable impact on the Indian real estate story and the Indian economy, and he joins me today to talk about his blueprint for success, not just in business, but also in life. Mr. Singh, what an absolute pleasure it is to have you join me here on the Young Turks podcast. Thanks very much for your time. It's great to be in conversation with you again. And I want to start by asking you about why the decision to title your book, which is really, in your words, a blueprint of your template for success. You call it Why the Heck Not? Why the heck not, Mr. Singh? That kind of is the mantra for your life story, isn't it? You never let an opportunity pass you by.
You know, I do believe that's true, that in my life, whenever an opportunity came, something in me, I didn't let it go. Of course, my mind is, God has given me one gift, it's like a supercomputer. I analyze it, what do I lose, what do I gain? In broadly, if I do quickly, I think I will gain more and may lose little, but subject to that. So I don't let it, because I believe every opportunity is like a train standing on a platform. Door opens for a short while. Either you get in, when the door closes, train leaves. Opportunity comes to every human being. It is your smartness, how to quickly find out yes and no, and then grab it before somebody else grabs it. So my life is full of it. That whenever opportunity is, can you imagine, for something as a real estate man has got nothing to do with gas pipelines or completely high-tech compression station turbines. From there, I got onto GE, which is, as you know, the most high-tech company in the world, from aviation to locomotive, defense, everything. So whenever an opportunity came, I grabbed it and I succeeded. So therefore, I say, why the heck not? Every person should know, when opportunity comes, just one thing: why the heck not? Why should I get it? If you find you can't do it, you find you lose more, then let go. But first try optimistically. Then why not grab it? So
Well,
this is,
speaking of grabbing opportunities, and let's talk about the big opportunity that you decided to grab. Reviving DLF, which was essentially a company that was being run by your father in law, and it was on the behest of your wife and your sister in law that you decided that you wanted to be part of this company. Cut to late 1970s to 1980s, where you then decide that you wanted to build a future city for India. Take me back to that time where you had this conversation under a kikar tree with the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, where really you discussed the idea of Gurgaon.
Rajiv Gandhi was not the prime minister. Rajiv Gandhi was a group of private sector people around Mrs. Gandhi. But actually, no, it started from a different aspect altogether. I got accidentally involved into real estate. I was not. Before that, I was doing manufacturing business and having a nice time. But then the events came such that my late wife and sister, who were having a controlling interest in the name, the company was dormant, completely closed because of 1958 policy of the government, which nationalized the business of urban land development.
Yeah.
So my father decided, he was a very upright man. He said, look, if the government nationalized, let's get out. But the others, which we call the unauthorized developers, fly-by-night operators, got into and started developing unauthorized buildings. So you find all slums, everything consequent to that decision. DLF was not part of it. But when it came to 73, 74, when her father wanted to give the shares away, he told the girls said, look, we follow, but we are known as DLF girls. And can you? So they asked me, I said, are you asking me something? I know nothing. I know ABC or real estate. I know about manufacturing battery or electrical motor, but nothing.
A little bit about horses as well.
So, and horses. I was a polo player. I used to breed horses. So, some events happened. And one sentence which my sister-in-law put it to me. She said, Bhai Saab, I know it is a formidable task because government is nationalizes, banks are not giving loan, forbidden to loan. That all laws, regulations are antiquated in real estate because they are only flooded by the reputation of real estate is horribly wrong because it's all dominated by fly-by-night operators, slums creators and all these things. And the most difficult thing is, how do you buy land?
Yeah.
You can buy 5 acre, 10 acre, 20 or maybe 100 acre. But when you're talking a city, you're talking thousands of acres. And land is fragmented into feudal families. So it's like an impossible task. So she said, yes, impossible maybe. But if I know you, even if you don't know swimming, you jump in the sea, and we can assure you, if you don't come back, we will not mourn for you. You made an attempt, please for our sake make an attempt. That was like my back was against the wall. This sentence hit me. So what I did then, by nature I was trained that way by my mentors earlier, George Howard, a great man, that whenever you do anything, do a detailed analysis of what is involved in doing this business, what do you gain, what do you lose. So when I went into detail, I found it's a formidable task. Can you imagine how do you lobby with the government to change their policy of completely closed to private sector, only public sector could do urban land development. Herculean task. Secondly, how do I go about buying land when the feudal families have 5-6 acres? When you know the land you buy, the law gives equal right to girls, but no, Chaudhurys would not do that. The money has to. And then how do you integrate the whole thing? How do you convince the government regulation? It was a formidable task. But for me, this God-given gift, I said, what others thought they say impossible, I said, I will attempt to make it possible. And that started my story of getting into DLF. Then I left everything completely. I became not a polo player. I left polo, everything I left my life. I was one task man. How do I get my task completed? And this,
And you dedicated 20 years of your life from
yes,
morning to
yes,
night
I did.
on acquiring that land. And that, I think, has many interesting insights about that land acquisition process that you know, pulled through together. As you said, it was virtually impossible to get contiguous land in the country. But let's start by talking about that experience. I know you narrate that incident very, very clear, or that period very clearly in your book, where you would drive out at midnight after leaving a nightclub, and then be on the road, reaching out to farmers, talking to farmers. And you say very clearly, and I think that's a very interesting aspect in the book, that you need to understand people and know their stories to be able to transact with them.
Yes.
Explain to me how you went about this.
You see, again, being a very detailed man, I learned this thing from greatest learning I had in my life. I was blessed with two greatest mentors. George Hoddy, who was a chairman of this American Universal, and Jack Welch. I learned so much from them. And the issue was that before you do any business, it may look like very nice. It's like a Jersey cow. It looks brown on one side, but go the other side is spotted. So you cannot take decision of business unless you see 360 review and review with a negative attitude. Where can we fail? So that teaching was ingrained in me. So I came around that I cannot buy land unless I create a confidence in them that I am one of them and one of the part of the family. It is not the money. You cannot buy land with money. I can pay, even you pay a crore, or you pay to this 5 acre patch. The next person, by the time you go to that, instead of 1.5 acre, you say 1 crore. Other will say ridiculous money. And if you don't pay, the first one will not register. It's an impossibility. Therefore, you have to win over the confidence of people and then make them partners with you in a way. So what did we do?
Ran a marriage bureau to start with.
That was different. But this I learned from my great late father-in-law also. He started. His point was कि बेटा देखिए farmers होते हैं. Now imagine they are very simple people. Just money, you understand, if they take money, the children will completely waste out and that will be the end of the story. So invariably what we do, when we take land, we just give them 1 or 2 plots of at the price when we buy the land, whatever the prevailing price is, they buy and they actually forget about it. So there was an incident which I think made DLF. Otherwise, if I had not taken that decision, DLF would never exist. Impossible. That was 1976. In 1976, a new law came, and I was just learning the rope of DLF. The new law came to India called Urban Land Ceiling Act.
Right.
And that meant that any entity who owns more than 500 yards of vacant land, like outside my house, this is vacant land, that will revert to the government free of cost. It is one of the most wrong laws, draconian laws, hue and cry, but the most affected person were DLF and its customers. Because ever since after independence she started, the thing was you gave plots to these people, or they had property, it was only 5 rupees a yard, 10 rupees a yard, nothing. Can you imagine the whole 500 yards was 5,000 rupees. So, but these guys, title was not passed over majority cases. They occupied the house, title was not passed over because they're considered the last 5% installment comes, then you pass title, delay. So suddenly you found that all the properties whose title we have not passed, which is majority, they revert to the name of the company, and they revert to the government. So what were they asking? They're saying, please refund our money, small money, 5,000. So total money was 1.5 crore. But DLF had no money because DLF had closed its business completely. Question is, how do you? And though there was nothing, there was no asset, there was no business DLF. So the issue was, and since I'm a very detailed man, I said, let me read this law myself. So I called the company secretary. I said, show to me. It's only 30 pages law. So I read it and I found one para.
Huh. The loophole.
Loophole. No loophole, a provision. It said, if any provision of this law brings hardship to a common man, then by notification, government could exempt it. I caught that point. I went to and I found wherever I met people, they were very objective, frankly, professional. I still remember the name of the person. It was N.J. Kamath. He was Secretary Ministry of Secretary of Urban Development. I went to Kamath Saab. He looked, I said, this is not, as poor people have paid 20 years, 30 years back. Their property is going now, reverting. So he said, well, you have a point, but this law is directly dictated by the Prime Minister. And but I see your point. So I said, sir, if you were them, what would you feel if you are? And he is a very religious type man. Sir, you are a Hindu religious. Yes. So, oh, damn. I said, if you were if you were them, what would you feel? Is it not a hardship to a common man? Said, yes. He said, leave it to me. Let me. So he then on his own went to cabinet secretary and this and that. Finally, they had a meeting with Indira Gandhi and said that this is a hardship clause, and got the informal from her. Okay, bring to the cabinet this notification we could do. When this news was given to me stupidly, which I was supposed to keep confidential, they told don't sell because it will take about 3 weeks before it gets onto the stage. So what I did was I came back to my office. And retired people, like I remember the still name of Mr. Tyal, he used to be a financial advisor, very old gentleman, nice, and some people. My father-in-law was also retired. They all said, having a cup of tea in F40 cannot place.
Right.
So I came back and stupidly, I said, this is good news possibly. So they said, at this time then, borrow money, return, because if this comes in, you will be a billionaire because all the land comes to you. What was 5,000 to 5 lakhs rupees a yard? The prices of all the lands is not so high. So I said, it is not sinking in me. So I said, why is it not sinking? I said, it is to my knowledge now. If we had returned the money before my knowledge, then I would have been straight. But now it is not to my knowledge. And it tantamounts to, like you said, something, it's not going through my head. So he said, well, so I remember I written this. Tyal साहब से कहा केपी साहब आप तो आर्मी में ठीक थे आप कहाँ गए इसमें या और दूसरा कहते या महात्मा गांधी जी या कोई प्रीस्ट हो जाते ये बिजनेस है मैंने कहा त्याल साहब मैं बिजनेस अपनी एथिक्स से करूँगा that time my father said बेटा तुमने you are running it take a decision. I said my decision is I will make them millionaire first then they will make me a billionaire. Exactly what happened. Moral of the story is, I decided that day, ethics and morality of a businessman should be always the keystone of the policies and should never be deflected for greed for making money by cutting corners. Now that thing, when it happened around, thousands and thousands of farmers who had forgotten when they had property, they became millionaires. And they're all married, they're interconnected in Gurugram. So you will be amazed at how many people came. I became a hero, all kinds of things. So on one decision, we had 30-acre license only.
Yes.
We started with 80 rupees. Thousands of people came. All plot holder people started coming. So I would say in decision making, if I had wavered and gone with the advice of Mr. Tyal and other thing, DLF would have been closed entity. And I thought that my blueprint advice to others is for every businessman, always follow your business policies based on ethics and morality, not on greed for making money. So DLF is all about this, what happened. And thereafter is the old story, money was flooded, banks were flooded with the money. We were not short of money. Till that time we had no money, nothing. By the way, then what happened? Farmers, since I decided to win them over, and you are right, 10, 12 years, a marriage bureau I made it around. And I'm
A
part
banking
of
service also.
Banking service, payable when able, means anytime, bank, whatever money you require, they bought land, same time they deposit in a company. Can you imagine? It's unheard of. In fact, the study was carried out by various ones, and I know USA, AID, and there's some team from Harvard and all they
Yeah.
came. They thought they would never happen anywhere in the world that you can buy land from farmers on a basis payable and able, and there was not single litigation, not a single litigation, and farmers prospered. So I would call this was a policy based upon my analysis that it's not the money, it is I have to win them over, not by showing off, by genuine steps. And I succeeded. It took me 10, 12 years. And that's how the DLF thing came around.
You know, I want to ask you this in the context of where we are as a country today, and I think these are decisions that are being grappled with. And I know that when the decision to do Gurgaon was coming up, it was whether you go upwards or you go outwards. As we look at the possibility of creating new townships, of creating new urban infrastructure, is it even possible today?
Possible what?
Creating a Gurgaon like city
No.
in this country today?
No. I don't believe, to tell you honestly, somebody asked me the same question earlier. No city has been created like this thing before. Yes, you can make 200, 100 acres, that kind of stuff. But talking about a city completely. And I don't believe in future is ever possible for one reason. Haryana is the only state which said, mandated, that you buy your own land, abide by our regulations. We give you license. No more, no less. We regulate you, but we will not. Whereas Noida is different. And that is the correct thing in my view in Noida. Public sector, government notifies land, then makes a master plan, and then auctions or allots it to people who qualify for this thing. So therefore there's no hassle for land there. In Haryana, is the other way around. So has anything ever succeeded? Take all cities and private sector not succeed. Take Lavasa, failed. So many people started, failed. Gurgaon is the only success story because it was based on fundamentals, right? And we went through, but in future, can anybody do? He has to be as mad or as person like me. I don't know how many people you will find as passionate. I don't know, but I don't think it's
No,
possible.
but on a serious note, Mr. Singh, what is the way forward then? I mean,
Public sector acquires the land. Government should, in fact, frankly, even with Chandrachud's judgment now, he set the balance right to say that farmers have to get the right thing. Government has to. Government should aggressively acquire land, and then not that lowest you or the highest bidder you give the land. Not it's silly. It's not a question. They should then give qualify people who are the best developer because a wrong developer will cut corners. Then allot the land, whether even by an option, limited option, but allot the land to only those who can make a city properly. The wrong city made is forever destroyed. So I think government should do. The government has done nothing so far. I'm afraid. How many places they have acquired so far? Chicago type of cities are required one every year. Look, McKinsey 2012. What did they say? India's growth at that time they forecasted we need one Chicago city every year. Look at the implication of migration from villages. Look at the implication of urban infrastructure. And now, thanks to a very able leadership of this country by our Prime Minister Modi ji, and he's a very able ministers, I must say. I can tell you, the India, they say in few years will be third largest economy, will beat all the forecasts. India will grow more because entrepreneurs are driving the economy. So growth will happen. But how about urban infrastructure? I shudder to think when growth is happening, more commutation required, more transport required, more water supply, more drainage. If you do the same archaic way as it is being done so far, planning, master planning, problems ahead. So drastic changes are required in the government, and they must involve completely with respect visionary people, along with the public sector people, so that those people are put together who are visionary in bureaucracy. You find very visionary bureaucrats. Have them, not transfer them every 3, 4 years. This is the key thing when you make master plan properly for growth. If this is not done, you'll have a mismatch.
You know, since we're talking about master plans and we're talking about the state of urban infrastructure or the lack of it today, I mean, people spend millions and millions to buy a property in Gurgaon, for instance, but look at the state outside of those islands of prosperity. Does that, how do you feel when you hear those stories, when you see what is happening on the ground?
But if I may say, Gurgaon was not planned initially this way. No. In fact, the person here still alive, Mr. Arun Singh. Sadly, others are gone. But when I got involved into this thing, and I must say I had a fantastic support from these people, very progressive. But the idea was different. Idea was that create something which India can be proud of. So actually, National Capital Region was based after on DLF case, because and they prescribed that there has to be a buffer of green belt between the boundary of Delhi and the habitation areas of Haryana. So it's supposed to be 5 or 8 kilometers.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be a completely green belt. What has happened now? People have made all kinds of things are going on. So and then they said, okay, what do you do? So I went myself. I said, I'm a great learner, by the way. So I had no clues, but I had the privilege by that time to see, being a member of the General Electric International Board, so I could see how the world is. Otherwise, sitting here, you don't know. I was amazed to see. So when I mentioned these things to these people, they said, well, then why don't you go and see? So I took 1 or 2 architects with me. I remember still 2, 3 people. And we went to South Korea, we went to Malaysia, we went to Hong Kong, we went to Singapore. What? Just to see what? Just to study. And we found the road system, everything was perfect. So when I came back and negotiated that time, it's very nice, amiable government of Haryana, progressive government. And of course, the support I had of the top. So issue was, okay, let's do it differently. So I offered them, by the way, as I've seen in Malaysia, I said, I'll connect Delhi with Gurgaon by a 16-lane highway, international specification, 16 at that time, at my cost, and I'll hand it over to the government. Free of cost. On the government land, it's your highway, but I'll make it for all the bridges and everything. But in lieu of this, I need one concession only, that I must be made to allowed to plan the entire city my way. Let them give broad parameter of density. There are broad parameter you do. But frankly, initially they started. But then events happened. It was unfortunately late Bansilal came in, who was very much against private sector. He was a very, but let me at the outset say, whereas Bansilal gave me quite a run, but I always respected him. He is one of the best chief ministers also of Haryana. But he has been his bonnet to say he would not like private sector to come into the business of urban land development. So he didn't want license to be given. Simple. He said no. So he came around. There was a road, I remember the name was called Road Number 9, Bypass Road and all kinds of things. He changed completely. Back to square one, what happened? Same old regulation. So what was the position to us? I said, no, I can't bang my head against the chief minister, this thing. So we developed this thing, but again, events happened. I didn't give up. In 90, this is starting from 80, I'm talking 90. Then a progressive government came again in Haryana with Bhajan Lalji, very progressive. And I remember, which I written this book, very interested in.
Yeah.
So I was in Orlando, There was a meeting of GE board, and when I came outside on a terrace, I saw for the first time in my life beautiful golf course and vertical buildings around. I never seen in my life. So I got the guys to take photographs. We didn't have the privilege. Those were
Of
photographs.
cameras.
So he took photographs and gave it to me. After I came back here, I had that much access to the chief minister. So I used to go. That's why Dhaba to Tabela was, because Dhaba means outside Chandigarh. I had to be there by 5:36 in the morning, duly ready toilet and everything. And whenever Chaudhry Saab gets up in the morning, his secretary will tell, and it took me 15 minutes to be sitting next to his bedside. Because whatever I did was public interest. I never asked for anything which is for DLF. I said, this is for the interest of the public. So he used to ask me, अच्छा KP साहब क्या लाए आप? मैंने कहा चौधरी साहब मैं आज आपके लिए ऐसी चीज लाया हूँ कि आपका भविष्य बदल जाएगा. I still remember. By the way, my long-term memory is very sharp. I still remember it.
I can see that.
Very, very sharp. So he was lying. He said, कि भी क्या मतलब भविष्य बदल जाएगा. मैं चौधरी साहब मेरी बात मानो. एक तो ये छोड़ो आप इसको. आपके नाम रेजिडेंशियल कॉलोनीज है या इंडस्ट्रियल कॉलोनीज है और इंस्टीट्यूशन. दीज आर द थ्री कॉलोनीज. इंडस्ट्रियल कॉलोनी, रेजिडेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन. अच्छा मुझको चौथी चीज़ करने दो कि भाई वो क्या होती है. मैं गुड़गांव में इसको नॉलेज सिटी बनाना चाहता हूँ. अच्छा बाय द वे फेज 5 एरिया वी हैड सोल्ड सब्सटेंशियल एरिया एज प्लॉट्स. वी स्पेंड मनी प्लॉट. अच्छा चलो हमने भेजा, हमको रिवर्स करेंगे कि भाई क्या मतलब है इसके लोग. मैं नॉलेज का मतलब ये है जी चौधरी साहब कि मैं ऐसी सिटी बनाऊंगा जो मैं बाहर देख के आऊँगा ऑर्लैंडो वगैरह में, ताकि एजुकेटेड लोग यहाँ आए और यहाँ आने के बाद में then they will bring around IT industry, there will be more outsourcing or all kind of thing will happen, different thing. So you need knowledge, you're not worker की जरूरत नहीं है. वर्कर तो इंडस्ट्री में आएंगे. तो खैर इसे अच्छा ऐसा है कि अभी ऑफिस में आप आ जाइए. मैं आज मीटिंग करता हूँ. My meeting was, I've described everything in this book. And how he told the chief town planner, भाई jump if there is so fourth floor के ऊपर. Finally he said कि भाई लोग जो KP सिंह कह रहे हैं, अगर स्टेट का फायदा है तो इनको चांस जरूर देना चाहिए. That is how I was given a chance, and that is how phase 5 the regulation became to what we wanted earlier. I wanted the same regulation for the entire Gurgaon. So we got something, and in fact that has been replicated in almost other states, except I sadly say in Delhi they are still carrying the same old things. It's not replicated here.
You know, you talked about creating the knowledge city in Gurgaon, and I want to ask you this in the context of bringing GE, setting up GE capital here in India, the back office boom that we saw play itself out through the 2000s. As we look at drawing FDI in today, how confident do you feel? What do you believe we need to do differently to draw in FDI across different sectors, and what do you believe India should prioritize today? Because as you said, we need the knowledge workers and we need the industrial workers at the same time. What is it that you foresee as the road ahead?
You see, for that I must say, again an incident took place in my life, which is quite a major sort of factor in India. I was on the GE board, but frankly, and I got Jack Welch was a very fascinating man, and I learned, and he was the role model of Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv Gandhi being a technical type, but he never came to India, and despite invitation given to him by the ambassadors, he never came to India. So I was summoned, and to say that can I play a role? So I said, okay, let me see. At the same time, what happened was that this great personality called Mr. Henry Kissinger, he was on the board, of the same board with me. So I was giving a presentation on India in a PowerPoint. Highly sophisticated crowd. Sam Walton, the chairman of City, all the big chairman of the. So then I was later on introduced, and he said, "What is your name?" So first time, Mr. Singh. So he tauntingly said something. He said, "You were giving a great presentation about India. I'm very happy." But long time back, I was in India, and I met a Singh. There are million Singhs. Which Singh? There was a Singh I met, and I met your then Prime Minister, and I did tell them. And they were trying to preach me something about this, about that, and I did tell them that you guys should learn to walk first before you run.
Hmm.
Get your economy right before you preach. If your economy becomes more, then people listen to you.
Hmm.
And I see today what you're presenting, that India is on the move, but a lot to be done. I said. But the way he said to me, it it knocked it like my back against the wall. So I said, let me do two things. I said, I'll use the Jack Welch to ignite India. So I persuaded Welch to all kind of help, and eventually made his visit possible. When he came, that time actually FDI was hardly anything.
Yeah.
Outsourcing was absolutely
Yeah.
negligible. So when he came around, and of course, the government lined up like a VIP of a like a head of a state. So everywhere he went, but he only wanted to meet people from 25 to 35 years.
Yes.
And he saw people very differently. So then he said, told me, okay, look, you are missing something in India. And I'm sorry I never came, and I thought India is nothing else but this, Chalmers and
Bullock
crisscrossing
carts.
bullock carts and all, but it is a different India, as I say. And but if I were you guys, and I think this meeting was attended by Sam Petroda and Monte Galvalia, they are still here. I remember that meeting was at a breakfast meeting in Taj Hotel. He said, look, you are losing one opportunity of what they call outsourcing from India, using intellectual manpower of India. And he said, I will place an order for 10 million right now. So just to encourage you. And KP, I said, I'll make the building. So building a corporate park made in DLF is in the area is that where the first G capital came in. Then what happened was, of course, India is very bright people. The new policy followed. Then came Infosys, then came this thing. Would you believe today, from nothing, it is $250 billion and rising. India is the leading country in the world right now. If Welsh had not done this thing, it would have happened, but maybe 15, 20 years later. So one great contribution. Second contribution was, okay, same thing FDI, that he asked me, very interestingly, he asked me, September, I remember beginning of September, 23rd September was a board meeting of GE in Paris. At that time I was not on the board. So he said, KP, can you come? And because I'm going to sell India to a hostile board. So far the board is hostile to India. Now I'm thinking differently. So I went there. So he told me, KP, President, now you can't be verbose there. You are talking the best brain in the world. So my presentation was this completely all. Lastly, Jack Welch says, I know his name was Winston, if I was the chairman of City Court. He said, Jack, what the hell has happened to you? Yeah, you recently got married, but are you thinking of third marriage? Something like that. The bloody hell is happening. You are against India. We all against India, and you are now never telling us, no, we should go gung ho in India. What the hell has happened? So he used one word. Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen on the board, I'm convinced now this is an opportunity. Why the heck not? Which is an opportunity. Either get into India and take advantage of the big run we will have, or the door will be closed forever. You will not get one. On that basis, billions of dollars were approved. And when GE did, world followed. And of course, 90, the economy got opened up here. So this is a major contribution on both the things. And as I said, I used him, and he made a great effort. I mean, in the bargain, I learned a lot about what can happen.
Yeah, and in many ways, you played a very important role in creating this whole BPO and outsourcing story from India. But as foreign investors who are looking at India today, and the story is very, very different. We've of course seen the fruits pay out as far as liberalization is concerned. Today, as you point out, it is the third largest, the fifth largest economy, aspiring to be the third largest economy. What do you believe is the need of the hour to continue to draw in investors, to continue to draw in foreign investors into India?
You see, uh, firstly, I'm a non-resident now, as I mentioned to you. My son is running the company admirably well. So at my age, I thought, let me do what I will enjoy. I mean, travel, meet old friends. I got a lot of friends outside. So I see such a distinct difference. Earlier, as I say, Henry Kissinger said, oh, India, mean, like kind of the, wherever you meet Indians were not really that thing. But last, particularly 5, 7 years, because of Prime Minister Modi, he's already made India on the high table of the world. Today, other means nothing. It's Putin, Trump, Modi, and the Chinese.
Xi
Four
Jinping.
matter. Rest means nothing. So India has already gone. Now this has positioned, and the role played and the economic prosperity in India has completely changed the outlook. So actually, what happens in London? I'm invited on forums to speak, and I find a hostile kind of all characters who have never been to India. Oh, well, this other, and I have great pleasure in demolishing the thing. So a new India has emerged already, which means more people will come into India. More will come. I can tell you today, from China, more will come here. What needs to be done? My big thing is one is you must make urban infrastructure as the keyest priority. Because you don't want to come around and be a mess of traffic jams and look at the pollution,
Pollution.
look at all these things. That thing. Other than that, personally, I believe our economic policies are quite good. If you see the economic policy all over the world, India stands very well, very responsive. So, all in all, there's a big boom waiting in India to happen.
Speaking of the big boom, what we're also seeing at this point in time is a big boom in India's startup ecosystem. We've got a lot of young entrepreneurs, first generation entrepreneurs who've taken the risk, who've decided to get into businesses, are disrupting existing categories as well. Some are now listed on the stock markets. What is the advice that you would give them on the back of your own experiences? What is the blueprint for success that you would like to share with India's young entrepreneurs?
You see, it is the same. Startups like mine was an exact example. I could have failed. All the Lavasa and everything failed, but a startup is there's an inherent risk, but there's a great opportunity. So I would say in India, there's a great opportunity, and a startup is the way forward in my view. We are just in the beginning. Much more will happen, and but some will fail. It's part of, it's not that you 100% succeed, but majority will succeed. They are sure this is a great opportunity.
So what is the KP Singh mantra for success that you would like to share with them? What are the non-negotiables? What are the do's and don'ts?
One, which I practice, I can say only, whatever you do in the country must be 100% compliance with the regulations and laws, however idiotic laws they may be. You must comply with it. Events will take it, they will get modified change. You cannot violate a law. I've never violated. Can you imagine? I never violated knowingly any law in my country. No. Number two. Number two is that you have to be very optimistic, and frankly, in my view, the way forward is that you have to assemble a team of people with you. A team of the people, I call them those who can get along with each other and have abundance of common sense, which is very uncommon, by the way. So if you can, like it, take my case, I had a team of only few low-key officials because I didn't want any high-key who is not talking the same language as
So
me.
2 patwaris and support
But
staff.
the whole, look, the whole GE, whole HBA pipeline, and 2 patwaris and a couple of people, because eventually I got more people. Eventually, like my son has got a fantastic professional organization, but that was not the time. My time
So be
was
frugal at the start.
yes,
Be
yes,
frugal at the
yes,
start.
and meet for the requirement. So I'm coming to say if it is 100% compliance, it should be number two, well knowing that you can't be 100% chance of success, but you have to have courage to take risks. Some people who don't have courage, no, I don't believe it. Courage and take prudent risk is the way forward in life. And then, as I said, carry a team with you. And lastly, but not the least, is your policies must be based on the rigid principle of ethics and moral values and not cutting corners and greed for making money. If you do all these things and earn a good name, events give you success. I've seen my life. To tell you honestly, you see in my book is there when she was telling Mr. Singh, tell me incident where you have had a panga with somebody. I said, I've not had a panga.
Not had any pangas with anybody.
I have not had.
Not even Bansi Lal.
No.
He took a panga with you, or
No,
you
but
took a
I
panga
didn't.
with him.
But you know, Bansilal, what did I follow? And I respect him. I admire him. He was mistaken, and he had one belief that I was doing a wrong business. And I was trying to say, sir, you are wrong. This is an emerging business. But he wouldn't understand. And secondly, he was misled by people. I kept on going to him, kept on till the end, after maybe 15 years. I've written it.
Yeah.
When he cried, before he died, he said, KP, I was wrong. Both sides, that I was opposing your business. I think you've done a great thing. Secondly, while I hit you hard, you always bowed your head in humility. And just and then God forgive me. And then he said, I said, sir, your son is gone because the Surinder has died in an accident. I'm there if there's anything required. I believe in this one, that person may think differently. At least in my life, I've not had anybody. And if you disagree, sure, you disagree a lot of time. You say agree to disagree. I've written very carefully about a thing called forgiving. I do honestly. Somebody is saying, why take a panga, koi chakkar nahi, forgive, challe do, move on, is an attitude of life. It gives me happiness. And we don't have a conflict. This is what happens in life.
So forgiveness for you is very, very important.
I feel happy.
Hmm.
Another thing is, sorry, one more fundamental was, in our business particularly, you share prosperity. See, most people like to keep, when they're prosperous, they want to keep things to themselves. My philosophy of life has been always share. Anybody does business with me, whether as a farmer or as a property or even my own family, whatever income I shared. Gives me happiness. It's an attitude.
Speaking of sharing, and again, we were talking about startups, but let's talk about your message to family businesses, your message to entrepreneurs who are now looking at what happens to their businesses with the second and the third generation coming in. And you made a decision many, many years ago where you actually put down in black and white in a letter to your family about what you intended to do and how you intended to do it. And that kind of clarity is not usual, and it's not common, especially not in Indian family businesses. Why did you feel the need to do that, and what is your message to Indian entrepreneurs who run large conglomerates, who run family businesses, who are looking at succession planning at this point in time?
Firstly, it differs from individual to individual. It is not necessary that what I did others should follow. But I can say only what I did. It gives me happiness and I succeeded for a reason. Reason is that, yes, in 2006, I think, or something, when I made this company for nothing, everything 100% my name, and the company was doing, we are listed just before listing. So then I thought for a moment myself. My late wife was a very, very shrewd woman, and we sat down together. One issue was, कि अब now ठीक है, you have, so issue was what? And I said, the family will be as good as they receive income. From what? From enterprise. How? Through dividend. Now, if the company is not run well, this will be zero. So, key thing firstly is that you must choose the best man. Now, it can happen you don't find within your own family. That is where the courage is required, and not necessarily that you go to outside sources. Like some of people take, for example, Burmans are running. They all in a very different every most. But I decided when I reviewed the whole thing, I find Rajiv, my son, who has just come from MIT, he's a very quiet person.
Very
But
unlike you.
yeah, we are two different things. I am extrovert, he's introvert. Both minus plus तो अच्छा है ना अगर both minus both plus also चक्कर हो जाएगा so he's much more let's say efficient, much more doer. The way he runs the company is absolutely 100% what it should be. So I took this risk at that moment, and there was frankly the moment, should I put outside? I said no. This was my feeling. Then the question came around was, yes, it could be. I didn't have to pass my wealth at that time. So when I was discussing with a lot of people, in fact, there was not a single person who said, yes, you should accept my late wife. She was supportive. Otherwise, they said, it's wrong because you are still not, up to now 95, we are talking a long time back. And events happen when children won't bother about you and this thing. मैंने कहा ये तो लक की बात हो गई ना. What I will do, I'll keep as much for myself, which is good for my autumn of my life. So would you believe I kept 1% share? 1% DLF. I distributed everything against all right, and I gave controlling interest to my son because he must run the company without any hindrance from anybody. And to my mind, as I see back now, it was a wise decision. It was a win-win position for everyone. I'm happy. They are happy. Grandchildren are everybody. Everybody is billionaire actually. So what do you lose? Yes, you lose one thing when you find that when you become lonely. That's true. That when my late wife died, I would have been normally dead in a year or so because what happens when a person dies and you're so close, you only become what? Watch television and become alcoholic because all the friends have gone. Actually, today, there's hardly a person of my vintage who's alive. Loneliness kills. Loneliness kills. At that time, I decided myself, not by anything, to hell with taboos with the world. I will make my life again, which I've done.
Why the heck not?
Why the heck not? Absolutely. Why the heck not? And it's a win-win position. But for others who are insecure, it's a matter of insecurity, then naturally pass as much as you feel secure. But every person I feel must plan for the autumn of their life because it is not humanly possible that you look for your children to come and meet you all the time, to look after you because they have their own life to live. You have your own life. Yes, they should occasionally come and meet you and everything, take care how it is happening. But your life should not depend in the old age on children because everybody has their own life. So plan the autumn of your life, which the way I've done it. I'm South of France, England, I'm here, I'm happy, frankly, till whatever. I do.
Well, may you continue to always be happy. And and this is what I want to talk to you about, because you just described to us what a day looked like in your life when you were actually going through that land acquisition process of being out and about for long hours at a stretch. But you've also invested a significant amount of your time and energy, and you continue to do so in having a life outside of work, which is equally important to you. So work hard, but you also play equally
Played hard.
hard.
You know, the Tavela was the
A
most hottest
nightclub.
nightclub, and we were about 10 to 12, 14 friends of ours, just 2 hours dance and this kind of thing.
And you
So
still do it.
I still do it. I still do the same. In fact, frankly, in London and in south of France, I'm very fond of social life, by the way. Actually, my life is relationship. How do I build a relationship? And as I say, once again, my late wife was always two steps ahead of me. We were like together all the time. See, if in a partnership, one person is behind, you can't do it. So we are together. So we love parties, we love things. Even now, for
You go
example,
out dancing still?
oh, quite a lot, quite a lot.
Night clubbing in
Yes,
London and
yes,
south
yeah,
of
yeah.
France?
No, south of France and England, there's a great nightclub in 5 Hartford Street that Annabelle. There's a couple of places here. Social life is there still.
And so what keeps you motivated? What keeps you at it every day? What continues to give you the passion to live your life fully? I mean, I know your mantra is laugh loud and live ethically and lightly. But how easy is it to do that, to actually
You
live
see,
that?
firstly, I'm not a hypocrite. I believe a businessman who makes money through ethics and moral practices and who is 100% compliant of laws and pays taxes, then whatever residual is left over, he must also enjoy, not just keep on piling it up, keep on piling it up. This is the way I do in my life. So both things go in tandem. It's like work hard, but also relax and enjoy also. I've done it throughout my life. I still do it.
What is this way of living life where you believe that you should be working all the time? So
In fact, I play. Would you believe I play golf and 3, 4 times a week, and so I'm active. See, the day you cease to be active, then old age catches you.
hmm.
So it's like I was
So
so far.
how do you see this 95 number? I mean, may you continue to live a healthy, happy life, but how do you, when people talk about the fact that you're 95 today, how do you view that number?
No, I think it is. See, biological age is there. Unfortunately, yes, sure, your energy start coming
Hmm.
down, and
What number do you feel in your head?
for what?
How old do you think you feel in your head?
No, in my head, I still feel I'm quite young because I do all the activity which are required for young. But then you feel like, for example, I love to walk on a golf course, but I have unfortunately one thing called atrial fibrillation
Hmm.
cardiac, which makes me like after maybe 5, 6,000 steps, go is this right, take buggy. Otherwise, I love to walk all
Hmm.
the time.
Hmm.
So those compulsions come of age, and one has to understand as you age that something will come.
Hmm.
Your smartness is to moderate your life according to those compulsions, not challenge that. You see. So I keep on moderating that.
Hmm. I want to talk about some of the serendipitous, incidents that happened in your life, which actually then resulted in some great friendships as well. Your chance encounter with Emma Hussein,
Yes.
on a train. I mean, take me through that, and why you believe through the course of your life you've had so many of these
Yes.
serendipitous encounters.
Yes, by nature, I'm one of those guys. This was, I would say, let me deal with this Hussein. I was in the army then, and it was the army. You see, you were allowed. I don't know whether they're allowed now. At that time, it used to be a coupe
Mm.
in a train reserved for this thing. So I was a coupe, and then at the Secunderabad railway station in down south. Oh my God, train was packed up. and there was a guy, the whole platform was up. And this one guy comes around, and I just opened it for a short while, my door, and when I saw Khan Sahib standing outside with a tin box on his head, same, no shoes, nothing, with the beer flowing out. कि साहब मुझे अंदर आने दीजिए, मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा, मैं कहीं जगह नहीं मिल रही मुझे. मैंने कहा भाई आप हैं कौन? No. The train stopped for a short while the check thing was going on. So I said, मुझे पता नहीं क्या आया. Normally, oh my God, today you look like terrorist. How the hell would you allow? So I said, अच्छा खान साहब आ जाइए बैठिए. तो खैर एक ही मिनट. तो मैंने कहा आप हैं कौन खान साहब? कि जी आज तो मैं कुछ भी नहीं हूँ. मैं आज होर्डिंग बनाता हूँ. और वो बात करके माफ़ करना जी, मैं कागज़ लेकर, तो मुझसे बात कर रहा है, मेरी पिक्चर बनानी शुरू कर दी उसने कि साहब मैं बस, मेरा कुछ अल्लाह ने मुझको ऐसा दिया है कि मैं अच्छी तरह से आर्टिस्ट हूँ, लेकिन अभी होर्डिंग किस बनूंगा. At a finished went sleep. So when we got up, so he says, "Sir, New Delhi Railway, can I take your address?" I said, "Yeah." When I gave my address. So यहाँ after about 2-3 months, I found on my gate. I was posted in the army headquarters then. Here, so in uniform, so I was just going early in the morning. So I just, my watchman came, ke sahab, there's a scraggly looking person who want to meet you. So by nature, who comes to me, I never say no. I just, okay, let's have. मैं कौन है? तो जब मैंने स्टॉप द कार, खान साहब से, मैंने कहा खान साहब आप तो वही हैं.
हाँ.
कि हाँ जी, मेरे ये अल्लाह, मैं क्या हुआ क्या कि जी मुझे 500 रुपये तो मैं जल्दी, फॉर्चुनेटली वो क्रेडिट कार्ड की उसको नॉर्मली डोंट कीप क्या, आई हैड 500. तो मैंने देखा, अच्छा मैं खासा लीजिए पाता. मैं कहा मुझे देर हो रही है, माफ़ करने जा रहे हो, दे दिए, मैं चला गया. मेरा फिनिश. देन आफ्टर फ्यू मंथ्स, दिस लेट नटवर सिंह, who was a great friend of mine, he was in foreign service, so he was staying here with me. The post outside was staying with me. So in the morning, I was just getting out, and I saw, say hello to Natwar on my way out. And I saw Khan Sahib was sitting again. So Natwar Singh said, कि भाई KP, you are not met Khan Sahib. I said, मैं कहा नहीं, मैं तो मिला हूँ, ये वही खान साहब. जी हाँ, मैं वही हूँ. कि वो कह रहा भाई ये one day he'll be a good artist. अभी मेरे से मिला है कि एक बर्लिन में कोई एग्जीबिशन है, फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री से मैं उसको स्पॉन्सर कर रहा हूँ ताकि वो चला जाए. तो मैं, अच्छी बात है. कहने साहब मेरे पास कोट नहीं है. मैंने कहा खान साहब पहले पैसे नहीं थे, अब कोट नहीं. क्या है कि जी मुझे बस, मैं सर्दी है सुना वहाँ मेरे से. तो मैं कहा इसे, मैं किसी भाई मेरा ओवर कोट ले आना. तो ओवर कोट लेके तो वाइल आई वाज डूइंग, तो नेटवर्किंग करके भाई ऐसा इनके पास पैसे वैसे नहीं है कि इनको क्यों नहीं आप अपॉर्चुनिटी देते. तो मैं कैसे, ये बताओ खान साहब, मैं भी आर्मी से अभी रिटायर होने वाला हूँ 1 महीने में. मैं यहाँ से, और मेरी कंपनी है फैमिली की. तो अगर आपके पास याद लोग आते हो तो कंपनी से कहें साहब बड़ा मेरा अल्लाह का ये होगा वो दुनिया भर की. मैं चलो आपको कंपनी में मैं लगा तो मुझे आके मिल लेना. तो 600 रुपये के ऊपर we started him. He remained like an artisan for a long. Deal was that whenever you are in the mood, if you say you're good artist, I'll pay for your canvas and paint costs. You keep making painting. He made so many paintings for us. जब उसकी as he became very famous, then frankly what happened was that we made him as art advisor of the company just for the sake of name. We increased slightly, so by 3,000, that kind of thing. But his fame became big. So the deal was that in DLF Center, if you see the reception DLF Center, there's an oval shape. I don't know whether you've seen it. You must go and see that. It's one of the most historical things he made, completely. It is the story of Delhi from Monji Daro time right to now. And he said, तो एक रोज उसका आया तो उसने कहा कि साहब मैं तैयार हूँ, मैं नहीं गया. मुझको सिर्फ ये बेसमेंट में दाल नान की and roti naan and some tandoori chicken बस, and shor sharaba. I don't want anything, I'll do it. He took 2 days. Like a madman he worked. And you see today, when you put the damn thing up,
Yeah.
astonishingly correct.
Yeah.
So उसके बाद मैं again यहाँ से फिर then he had to leave the country. Then he rang me when he was about 100 years old. I met in Dubai. बड़ी तबीयतें मिलने की. So I went down. Because अब देखिए अब देखो मेरे कितने museum I saw to see. But then he moved to London. Then thereafter he died. But he was a very different person. But for me, this was like I used to go Delhi College of Arts every April. I still remember the name of the principal was one Mr. Sharma. Because they used to last term of the students used to finish in April. They used to show their work.
Works.
So you see the work for the heck of it. Again, I used to pay किसी का 500 रुपए हो किसी का 1000 रुपए हो 200 रुपए हो different thing by just to encourage.
Yeah.
And in that thing was one of these guys was this this great artist अभी जो पेंट किया जो अभी किया ना हमारे अभी इसमें
Paresh Mehti.
Paresh Mehti. So he rose so many people. So it is the ability to, I wouldn't say ability, it is your interest in good things of life. Art is a good thing of life. And my way was to just make a small investment in the hope that something will come out.
Right.
And something came around. It's just a way of living.
Let me end by asking you, if you were 25 years younger today, and you had to place bets on India and you had to place bets on businesses that you would have liked to do or perhaps would like to do, what would those be?
I would, and I honestly believe that India will rise economically more than what we think. In other words, the progress in India will be so much that any entrepreneur investing in India will make more money than elsewhere in the world. So I would have then heavily expanded my business. Say, my son is doing it, but he's doing it in a right way. What he's doing is there's shortage of manpower, trusted manpower, good opportunities are so much. Like imagine the housing, the whole of India, but you can't do because you need people with you. So it's like one of the things is you can't chew more than what you can. You can't bite more than chew, or the indigestion follows. So our issue is only growth is limited to our ability to grow people, not because of opportunity. What I would have done, I'd have created an organization. As I told my son one day, I said, no, I would have done. You see, you got IIMs, IITs, this ISB. A very nice crop comes from them. About 10 years experience, keep them. Keep them 6, 7, maybe 8. Well knowing 5, 6 will go away. But 4, 5 who remains, they will spearhead your company. So I would have done that in a big way. So I'm very optimistic about the country. But at the same time, I would have enjoyed hard also. Both sides go together.
That is the KP Singh way of life. And finally, again, we've talked about business, we've talked about life, but I also want to end by talking to you about love and your mantra for finding love, for staying in love.
No, I told you last time you asked me the same question.
Yeah.
My love was only one.
Yeah.
My late wife. There's no second love. Second love is company, nice company. You are grateful. Because if I didn't have company, I wouldn't have been sitting before you. I would have also died a couple of years back, which normally people die alone. But I am grateful to my partner, who is a very nice person, who exactly provides me. What does she provide? Activity. She learned golf. She plays with me all the time. So she arranges so many new people who are, you'll be amazed in France, we've got so many new in England people. Then, of course, she's a big socialite. These two things keep me busy. So I am grateful very for her to organize the company. But to say that love is very different. I admire my partner, but love is one, finished, gone. The memory is only.
Well, we hope the memories continue. Mr. Singh, it's always a pleasure. Many, many thanks for joining us here on this very special episode of Young Turks Reloaded. We look forward to hearing more from you, and we look forward to seeing much more of you. Appreciate you joining us here on the program.
Thank you.
Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of Young Turks Reloaded. From all of us here on the team, for now, goodbye and many thanks for watching.